Are these the world's crispiest fries? Let's find out. Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Fishfindings, the series where I share with you random little bits and pieces of Fishman's information. Bumped my mic. And you get to enjoy it to the best of your ability. Today I wanted to talk about the tale of two box sets. These are the Fishmans Rock Festival box set here. Again, bumped my mic. The Fishmans Rock Festival box set and the Go Around This World box set from their 25th anniversary. I'm also going to talk about the single that came with it. I'll get to that later. So, first of all, I wanted to talk about the context of why these were created in the first place. So, and you'll have to forgive my voice because I am with cold. I'm coming off of it, but it's all right. We'll figure it out. So, with Fishmans Rock Festival, you have a release that is primarily focused on Fishman's later career, with their final 3 albums and all of the albums included in that. So everything that's in here is stuff that was released 1996 onward. This was released in 2007, and we're going to go over it first because it is the first of these 2 box sets that were released. So we're just going to take it from the top. You'll have to ignore the geese up above if you can hear that. Not sure. We'll see if it comes out in post. Regardless, they're going over now. So this is their 7th album. It's the first one in the set. This is Ushu Nihon Setagaya. Something you'll notice about the album cover here is that it is scuffed all over the place. This is something that I've noticed from all sorts of different people that have this box set, is that this album in particular gets scuffed on the front cover. I'm not sure why. I think it's possible that it's just a consequence of being rubbed against this cardboard cover. Regardless, this is a gatefold, and if you open it, it gives you the standard. This is what it looks like on the normal vinyl issue. But if you look at the back, you'll see that the track listing is very small on the back. You'll see the same sort of black box on the bottom from Polydor. This is something you're going to notice throughout all of these records, is that they have kind of a weird backside cover. Regardless, that is the 7th album, and before I put it away, I wanted to show you the albums, the actual labels. So the labels themselves come with a gray circle. You can see that sort of here. I have it, it's in plastic, don't worry. So you can sort of see how the label there is similar to the original, and for those viewers at home that have the original vinyl record, you'll see that those are very similar. And the reason for that, if I can close this correctly, is because they wanted to make sort of a vinyl equivalent of these albums, but they didn't want to create a replacement. They just wanted sort of every album to follow a very consistent design scheme. Next up is going to be Long Season. This final record is a single. It's a single record. And you'll notice that on top of the front cover, you'll see the back cover has a big white label on the back. That is going to have the lyrics, the track listing, it has 1 song, and the credits of this album. Nothing really too out of the ordinary. The credits on the copyright on the bottom is in pink text. But, so this album in particular has a pink label, orange label, and so you'll see that pretty clearly. And I also want to take note while I'm on long season to discuss sort of the quality of build of this jacket, sort of the thin paper. But so I really want to talk about this insert while I'm coming across it. This has several things inside of it. I'm going to get the camera up closer. Something that I thought was really interesting about this insert is that it kind of almost makes up things, if you look at it really closely, that are very obvious, but I think that that's interesting. So you'll see here that it almost has like a live set list vibe to it. It's got all of the different albums, different sets for these albums, and different stages for these albums, and it almost feels like it's a guide. It's like Fishmans is trying to come right out and say, okay, if you like these albums, you should go to this stage. You should hear these albums. If you like this sort of stuff, you should go over here. And I think that's really interesting. If you look at further, you'll see some stickers that are emulating almost like a pass, like a wristband on the bottom, and some things to string around a card. And I think that that's really interesting. So, and there's supposed to be an all-access area pass. And on the back of this, you'll see a release guide of everything that's on this, as well as some video releases. So I think that's cool. And those are all inside of this plastic sort of insert that you have to open. So from there, and so that's essentially what this album is trying to be, is a rock festival for Fishmans. And so all of the different albums are supposed to be these different settings of the box set. And next up in that list is going to be their single, Yorameki in the Air, from 1998. Yorameki in the Air was a single release, and that is reflected in the album. And it's cool because it mimics the actual vinyl 12-inch issue of this album that came out in December 1998. Whereas side A has Yorameki in the Air, and side B has the backing track. So I think that's really interesting. And then as well, you're getting that same black bar across the bottom this time, with all of their credits and the track listing, which again only contains one song on it. So that is the third release in this lineup. The next one's the one everybody's waiting for. And before I get to it, I want to emphasize the fact that these are albums that might not ever get issued again because of the way that Polydor does these things. Polydor, also known as Universal Music Group, for the purposes of this conversation, have a pretty strangling hold over the copyright of the artists that are on that label. Notably, they have to be convinced in order to think that it's worth reissuing an album. And a lot of the time, people just aren't able to give them the market presence that they need to think that it's worth reissuing this, and not, for example, a BTS album, some other of the millions of artists that are signed to Universal Music Group. So this is a very rare issue of the live album from 1998, 98-12-28 Otokotashi no Wakare. Still trying to figure out where I should put these in the frame. This album in particular is over 2 hours long, so you would think that on top of the back cover, which I think is beautiful, it has credits, or actually doesn't have credits, just has copyright information on the bottom. So you might think, oh, is this a really long album? And it is. There are 4 records here. They're all of various shades. Kind of get like a taste for the shades here. And the last album amongst these is Long Season, just Long Season, and that's on both sides of this. So a lot of what you're getting on this is sort of these not very well formulated track listings for the length of it, but at the same time interesting, and it captures the entirety of what they're trying to get done here. So that is 1998, their album from that time period, and you can see that pretty clearly. The aesthetic of this is very minimalistic compared to the CD issue. The CD issue has these very colorful labels. The CDs themselves are very colorful. Meanwhile, and if I can get over just like opening and closing these over and over again, this one has a very dark purple label here. And they all have label colors that correspond to their jacket color. So I think that's interesting. And something that I find fascinating about this issue is how the album cover itself is cropped slightly differently than the CD cover. You'll see that the side here doesn't cut off before the end of the album, that it goes right to the cover. That's something that's unique to the vinyl issue, where it's kind of slightly off-center. If it ever gets a reissue, that'd be interesting to double-check on that, see if it's consistent with the new issue of it. I also like to put the tops of the albums toward the top of the album, the openings of the albums, rather. And I do that mostly because it's harder for the record to slide out. So I like to do that. So I'm going to throw that one right back in, and we'll continue through these lines. The next one is another exclusive to this box set, and that is Season, the prelude to Long Season. This one as well has a big white box on the back with the track listing and the lyrics. This album cover in particular is fascinating because you don't get this big square anywhere else in their discography for this particular single. And if we actually look at the... making sure it's still recording. If we actually look at the label, it's a very bright green. And that's cool. And it's a 12-inch, so a lot of that is run-out groove. But it's okay. We take what we can get. Next up is Walking in the Rhythm, this vinyl release, which I believe is also an exclusive to this box set. You have that back cover with the negative of the city and a white box that has the credits. And when we go inside the album, you get a very beautiful neon pink. And this has the 4 tracks from the original single. And the original single actually lets you separate the different layers of the album cover. So the blue and the pink are actually a different insert that aren't a part of the true quote-unquote album cover that's on the jacket. So I think that's a little interesting, at least. There's a car that's going by. There's a puddle like right next to this area, and cars keep going through and just like dunking their entire bottom side into it. Anyway, so this is their second live album, Heishigatsu no Genjo. It's a gatefold, and this is the next one in the set. If we open it up, we get sort of like somebody's unfinished meal and a copyright for August in the left, which is where this album gets its name, Heishigatsu no Genjo being August's now, ? That title being derived from a Pool issue. So if we go into the album itself, it has these beautiful like photo labels, which I believe are shared by the original vinyl issue, but if they're not, let me know. But this is specifically the vinyl issue of this album. So what you're getting on this is an abridged version of the CD edit. So mostly what that means is you're getting 2 different cuts of Night Cruising for some reason on the back, which is where those credits are going to be. The front cover is them all hanging out in the audience, and the back cover is Shinji Sato up there doing a pose. So you're getting a different cut of this album, but it's still the album. You're getting most of the material. You're just missing out on that mix of... Actually don't know what mix you're missing out on. I'd have to double check. Probably put like text over it. Anyway, so a biker just did the same thing. Anyway, next is the final album in the set, which you're already seeing. Kushu Camp, English title Something in the Air, literal translation Aerial Camp. This is their 5th studio album, and it opens up. It has a gatefold, and this is imagery that's shared with the CD issue. And then you get more of the CD issue imagery on the back. The cow is Noi there. So, and you're not getting a track listing on the back or in the centerfold. You're only going to get that on the label, which is blue. Appropriately, since this album has baby blue and sunny blue on it. That's number 3. Anyway. This issue in particular is really interesting because the album cover is probably the best issue of Kushu Camp to see sort of like the artifacting that surrounds the band. It's so weird. It's like, okay, they were very badly cut out, but on purpose. I can see why they did it. It's for aesthetic reasons, and I dig it. So this issue as well has a bunch of scuffing on the back, which for, again, probably obvious reasons. It's probably just rubbing it up against the cardboard too much. But, so that's probably more so just evocative of the fact that the album itself was probably printed in limited quantities. This album in particular was sold for much lower than what it's actually worth today. Back in the day, they used to sell this at the record store for a couple $100s, as far as I'm aware. However, that eventually changed because once stores ran out of copies, resellers decided to take the opportunity to sell this. I'm folding this wrong. Decided to take the opportunity to sell this at much higher rates. So oftentimes you're not going to be able to find this particular issue for less than $1,000. Does that make it valuable? Yes. That means there's only a couple hundred copies of this, couple thousand copies of this in the entire world. So, that is all I have to say about Fishmans Rock Festival, which was released in 2007, and it was released in conjunction with the 2007 In Space Shower TV DVD release, which is also cool. That one has several different live cuts, several different performances, stuff that's completely new, and we wouldn't have it had we not gotten those issues. Now, I'm going to cut this bit, but I forgot, so I gotta put it back. Here, back. Alright, so, box set number 2. This is Go Go Around This World. It's from 2016. It was issued alongside this single, Icareta Baby, as a 7-inch. I'll get to that later. But for now, this single box set was released in 2016 alongside the 25th Anniversary Remaster series, which saw all of Fishman's albums repressed, including their Polydor era on vinyl. So the newest vinyl edition you'll find of those later era albums, Kushu Camp, Long Season, etc., are going to be from 2016, as well as this box set, which includes their entire Media Remorse catalog. So we're going to go through that one at a time. The back cover has all of the albums on it, but I'm not going to go through and spoil all those now. So let's dive right in from the top. This is O Mountain, Fishman's first live album. It was released in 1995, and it is a gatefold. This album, which I just had to take out of the cellophane during an edit, is a gatefold. You can see sort of this beautiful border that surrounds both sides. This pastiche of the Paramount logo. So you're going to see more of that beautiful border on the back as well, where you're going to get the track listing. And this shares a album cover with the previous 10-inch vinyl issue. which cut this album down severely. But this one also does, and this includes a unique cut of Nantetsuno, as well as O Crime and Doyobi no Yoru, both of which are dub versions. And so that makes this vinyl issue alone really worth having. And this isn't the only vinyl issue of this album. You can get, like I said, the 10-inch issue. There's a new 30th anniversary reissue from 2021, which is the same where my shirt is from, which you can tell because of the emblem on the back, which says I'm Fish. Regardless, so this album is really cool for that reason. It's one of my favorite Fishmans releases, and I'm privileged to have it on vinyl. This is Fishman's fourth album, Orange. This is the vinyl issue. You'll notice that the album cover is very different from their CD issue of the album, and I don't know why. It's probably because the original issue of the album actually made all of the band members of the album, it made them all into a sticker that you could put on something else. Not a lot of people know this. I didn't until a few weeks ago. But this has a completely different cover, 2 pictures of Shinji Sato shirtless, and 2 pictures of both Motegi and Yuzuru Kashiwabara having fun on the bottom. And you get Motegi sleeping on the back, and it's a good time. And geese. This is a great place to shoot. His music is loud. Anyway, you get this very, beautiful, the sound of gradation on the front, on the label, and you get sort of this, little drawing of a sun on the other side with... This is the side B, actually, yeah. So it has, Kancha Odoroki, Karemichi, Woofer Girl, etc. And this one's even giving us, an insert of Hakase sitting there, as well as a bunch of pictures of them recording the album in London. So much of this is going to be me editing out, taking the album out of the cellophane. Here we have number 3 in the box set. This is their EP from 1991 called Corduroy's Mood. The back side just has somebody's back pocket with the track listing, the 4-song track listing. When you open the album up itself, you get these adorable little blue and red labels. As well as a book insert, which is different colors on both sides. And if you go through, it has all these alternative covers, which you can see on Discogs. I love this one with the dog sleeping. Probably my favorite one. Then you got number 4 in the list. Probably the least liked album in the collection, but I really like it. Their first album, Chappie Don't Cry. Very straight ahead reggae. The back cover has a picture of Shinji Sato performing and the track list. And credits, it seems. The gatefold is wonderful, has lots of stuff on it. It has a members list, the bassist Yuzuru Kashiwabara here being referred to as Chappie. Then an insert with lyrics and a logo. And your album labels, which are a little red label with a hat on it. We dig it. So this is Fishman's third album, Neo Yankees Holiday. It was released in 1993. It's a pretty straight ahead rock album. You open it up and it's got all of the different members in various different poses, having fun, playing, etc. You have the back cover, a close-up of the logo, as well as a bunch of treats and some credits. You get the insert out and it's got another logo. as well as a big set list of every lyric from the album, as well as this adorable little graphic of a monkey. Probably the same guy that comes up on the front cover, right? And to finish us off, we have a very chappy cover, a very chappy label with a blue label and the monkey again. Love it, love it, love it. I got 3 more of these little sleeves of cellophane to put on and take off. Their second album. This is King Master George. This was released in 1992. It was their first album release on Meteor Amoris. You open it up, and one side's all green, the other side's got a couple extra photos of them. You close it up, and you get that back cover with the track listing. No credits this time, but we open the inserts, and we see some lovely little illustrations, which are right side up, as well as these guys, the king in question, down here. So, when you open it up and you get a lot more of those credits, as well as lyrics. This is the famous 1992 King Master George CD credit sheet, which is wonderful. We love to see it. And I've decided to get the last 2 on their own. These are their 2 singles they released in 1993 and 1994. This one's called Melody. This one's called Go Go Round This World, the namesake of the entire box set. This one, Melody, came out in 1994. It was the last release that their guitarist Kensuke Ojima appeared on. If you look at the back cover, it's very similar to the CD one. That said, the album cover is slightly different than the CD edit. You can give it a look on Discogs, but I swear to God, they are 2 different covers. If you open this up, not only will you get treated to 2 adorable little labels, but you'll also get treated to a lovely little poster. It's the same size. Actually, it's a lot bigger in the solo 1994 vinyl issue of this album. However, you get on the back, you get that track listing, much more stuff in the 1994 issue, but that's okay. We have a lot of music here to get through, so it's not a big deal. Something notable about the vinyl cut of this is that the final song is not Wedding Baby, as you would expect. Instead, the final song is a remix called Nyabingi Baby, which is listed in the CD Extra Dictionary, the Fishmans Dictionary, you name it, listed in there as something that only people that smoke weed will get, which is interesting. Needless to say, I understand it. And this is Go Go Round This World. Go Go Around This World, this title especially is different from the CD edit, so you'll see different art for these 2 singles between vinyl and CD issues. You see the back cover, and it's got a big orange circle with all the credits and the track listing in the upper corner. You open it up to a vinyl record that has 2 labels. One of them's red, the other one's blue, but both of them feature a tiny little graphic, the blue one having a little trailer, the red one having a little sign. And a little insert just to have some extra photos. That's the band together. And some more people with some more signs. And that, truthfully, is every release from this box set. Now, I had a lot of issues trying to make sure that I got these for a reasonable price. This box set pretty regularly goes for about $300 nowadays, which is much cheaper than the other one, for probably obvious reasons. However, something that I discovered while buying them is that this one probably cost about as much as this one. Probably cost about as much as it costs today at around $300 to $250. The other one, though, is much more expensive Fishmans Rock Festival nowadays will go easily for $1,000. Like I said, even though it sold at a comparable price point back in 2007 to Go Go Run This World. So nowadays it's a lot rarer, it's a lot more coveted. This is number 6, if you didn't know. I don't know if that comes up over the microphone, by the way. I have no idea. The next one I want to talk about is probably a record store day haul, as well as this one is. And that's this 7-inch single. Now, this single that I have is not the 2016 issue. This one's the 2021 issue. I don't have it with me, but this vinyl issue originally came with a digital ticket to the Fishmans movie, a documentary which came out in 2021. So, without that ticket, however, this little single, a 7-inch, has a red label and a blue label. The blue one has Blue Summer, performed live. The back cover of it has an adorable little cup of tea with some clouds. And if you go inside, it's actually got quite a lot of little illustrations. A little comic about a guy named Jambo, the golfer. Jimbo, actually. And the lyrics on the back as well. Like I said, this is a 30th anniversary remaster, not a 25th. So, instead of getting that 25th anniversary remaster logo, you get that 30th anniversary remaster logo. Very nice. So, thank you guys for coming along to my silly little video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. In the meantime, be sure to subscribe for more of these Fishman's deep dives and more of these tiny little facts. Hope you enjoyed. This is Silver Shroud, I guess I'm going by online. I hope I see you again in the next episode.
Stop putting him up there. One day he gonna just say and come down and bust his head.